What's going on, my little bundle of chestnuts? It's a girl, Kit Winchester here, and welcome to Get Ready With Me, where I will be telling my birth story, well, more like Riley's birth story, and I'm no longer pregnant, obviously. Oh, my goodness. I'm good. Okay. It's fine. Okay, so for those of you that do not know, on November 16th, I found out I was expecting, and the way I found out was really weird. Like, I remember, just kind of, okay, I'm back, sorry. So yeah, I found out I was pregnant on November 16th, and the way I found out was weird. So I just kind of had a feeling that I was pregnant, you know, like mother's intuition, you know, and I just was like, hey babe, like, I think I'm pregnant, and my boyfriend was like, no, you're good, like, I don't think you are, you got your period, so you're fine. And I'm like, I mean, it could have just been implantation bleeding. And he's like, but you still had the symptoms of a period. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but I don't know, something tells me I'm pregnant. And I feel like the reason why I actually knew was because of the fact that I had UTI symptoms, you know, like it hurt to pee, and I had to pee a lot. So that's one of the symptoms, is frequent urination, and it could also cause some UTIs as well. So I had a UTI, and I had frequent urination, and just, you know, signs of pregnancy early on. Like, so on top of that, I also was late for my period. Yes, I got my period, but then when it was time for the other one, November 6th, I never got it. So when I found out, I was 10 days late. So, I was like, hey, I should have gotten my period by now. And he's like, well, yeah, but you're irregular, so. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Like, I'll get it at any time. Bruh, I have not had a period since October. So, in a couple months, it will be a legit year since I have bled from my coochie in a normal rate. Okay, so I was like, hey, the reason why we had to go to the doctor, though, was because we were told that it can cause kidney failure. The UTI can, and it can also cause a positive pregnancy test. It can also make a pregnancy test come up positive. So I was like, hey, I really think we should go to the doctor. Like, my side is cramping up, because that's another one of my symptoms, was I was cramping up right here in this spot for some reason, and like it really hurt to walk. And I was like, hey, my side is hurting, and it hurts to walk, it hurts to breathe. And he's like, maybe you just pulled a muscle in your sleep, you know? And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, it could also be a symptom of pregnancy. And he's like, babe, mention pregnancy one more time. He said, mention pregnancy one more time. I swear to God, you're not pregnant. I said, okay. I also was a smoker, and one of my symptoms was gagging after a cigarette, and that has never happened to me before. And I mean, ever since I first started smoking, because I wasn't used to the taste yet, but then I got used to it. And when I moved back in with him, I was smoking Marlboro Light, you know, like the white ones, because I was sharing with my mother-in-law. So I just started gagging, and I was like, maybe I just don't like that brand anymore. So I got Marlboro Reds, which is actually my brand. And I still kept gagging and like throwing up after a cigarette, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, this has never happened to me before. Like, what's going on? And I also didn't want to get my hopes up and say that I was pregnant because I lost a baby in March of last year. So I was like, you know, I don't want to get my hopes up and say I'm pregnant and then not actually be pregnant, because that would destroy me. Like, you know, granted, we were not planning on getting pregnant and it just kind of happened, but I was also like, I'm going to be happy if I am, kind of thing. So, I don't know. I was like, hey, I don't know, like, I think I might be, and he's like, you're not pregnant. So finally, there was one really, really scary night where we finally decided to go to the doctor, because we were about to go, but then they mentioned taking my blood, and me being scared of needles, I said, nope, nope, fuck that, I'm going home. So there were times when Nathaniel had to, like, drag me back to the hospital like a little kid, and I'm just like, I don't want to go. And he just kind of got tired of doing that, so he was just like, do you fucking want to go home? Yes. Oh, fine. But then the next night, I got really, really sick. Like, it was summer, and it was like 102 degrees outside, and I am freezing. He is extremely hot. Like, we have the ceiling fan on and the heater. He is dressed down to his underwear, and I'm shivering. Everybody else is, like, wearing what is modest, but, like, dressing like it's really, really hot out, and I am covered from the neck down, shivering. And I'm crying because I'm like, this is not normal. Why am I so cold and everybody else is extremely hot? And I also spiked a fever in the middle of the night. So, and my mother-in-law was she was a lot to work with. So she comes in to check my temperature. I have 102 degree fever, and she looks at Nathaniel and tells him that I still have to go to work tomorrow. So she told me to basically sweat it out, and if I'm faking, to stop. I was like, you read the temperature. It literally says 102 degrees. How could I be faking that? I don't know. So basically, he held me all night long, even though he was sweating, and, you know, he's like, you know, I really don't want to cuddle. I'm sweating, and I'm crying because I hate being this sick. I hate being miserable, and I'm just not feeling good. And he's like, you don't have to go to work tomorrow. Like, I will tell them that I'll take you to work, and I'll let them go, and then you and I will just stay home. And if you don't get better, I'm taking you to the doctor. I don't care if you protest or not. Like, if I have to drag you back to the room, I will do so. I will even carry you like you're fucking 5 if I have to. You are staying at the damn doctor. And I'm like, okay, but I don't want to go to the doctor. He's like, well, then you better hope that you get better. So I'm like, okay. So I ended up throwing up, and one of the reasons why I love him was because he is tired. He has to go to work at 4 in the morning, and he has to come home at like 9 a.m. And he still woke up with me every hour that I was throwing up, and he would hold my hair, rub my back, and tell me it was gonna be okay, even though it grossed him out and, like, you know, it's vomit. And he still knew that I needed him, and, you know, and he knew what I needed, and he knew how to help me. So, long story short, I did not get better. He basically thought I was dead, so he had to carry me to the car, and we get to the doctor, and it was just like a doctor's office. Like, I was telling her, I was like, my side is killing me. I spiked a fever last night. I'm not okay. Like, I don't feel good. I think I have a UTI. And she said, okay, when was your last period? October 6th. Okay, so you're a little bit late. Yeah. Is there a possible pregnancy? Nathaniel said no. I said yes. So they decided to test for both UTI and pregnancy. And she came in and told me that both tests were positive. And she came in and showed me my pregnancy stick. big fat positive. So I am over the moon because of the fact that, like I said, I had a miscarriage and I knew I was pregnant, and everybody else kept telling me I wasn't. So for her to kind of affirm, yes, you are, I knew I wasn't crazy, and it just felt so much better to hear it, you know? Sorry, hang on, I have to make sure I get it right. Okay, so let's skip forward to me giving birth. Okay, so basically I find out I'm having a boy, but unfortunately when I found out I was having a boy, Nathaniel and I were not together. So I went to that apartment, what the hell, I'm tired. The appointment by myself with his aunt. And when I gave birth, I was back here in Arizona. And Nathaniel and I got back together, so it's okay. It's water under the bridge. Not bothered by it at all. So, I have to make sure I get the eyelashes. Okay, so freaking June 21st, I was in pain. Like, the pain on my side started like squeezing and then releasing. So I was like, am I having a contraction? What the hell? So I go to the hospital and they're like, you're fine. Like, you're just having Braxton Hicks. You're completely normal. Like, it's completely fine. So I'm like, honey, no, it's not. Like, and she's like, no, we even put the timer on your stomach. You're not having a contraction. They're not popping up on the monitor, so you're probably just having Braxton Hicks. So they told me to just drink some water, and they sent me home. But they sent me home with information of, like, how to know if it's Braxton Hicks or not. And basically they told me that the next time this happens, to put on my favorite show and just kind of put my feet up, drink some water for the entire episode. And if I am still feeling like crap, then to take a warm bath and soak in it. And if it did not go away, then to start timing them. And then once the contractions are 5 minutes apart, then to go to the hospital. And I'm like, with this amount of pain, I cannot wait until I'm 5 minutes apart. But whatever. I'm a big baby. I cannot hold on that long. Like, and she's like, you'll be fine. Like, every mother that's about to give birth is scared, but once it actually happens, you will have this unimaginable strength that you never knew you were even capable of having. And I didn't believe her until I actually did it. I did it. Your girl did it. I did so much more than what I thought I was capable of. Like, when we got to it was July 1st, right? So July 1st, I'm not okay. I'm in pain. I'm screaming. Every night would end in me crying myself to sleep with how much pain I was in. So, where the hell is my makeup bag? Oh, I put it on the floor. Mom brain, am I right? So, it would end in me crying myself to sleep from June 21st all the way up to July 2nd. It was not fun at all. Keep in mind, June 22nd was my baby shower. So I'm trying to enjoy my baby shower while being in pain, and that's not fun. So, when I went to the doctor on July 1st because of how... Sorry, hang on. Because of how much in pain I was in. They just took one look at me and said to basically go to the store tomorrow and walk around. And I was like, do you realize how painful it is to even get out of bed these days? Like, what? And she's like, you'll be fine, like, you know. I was mad at everybody because everybody kept telling me to go home and that I was fine. And, like, I know my body. I know I'm in pain. I'm uncomfortable. I just want something to be done here, like, and everybody's looking at me and telling me I'm fine. And it just basically made me feel like I was just being dramatic. And it was not fun, like. So July 2nd, I keep wanting to say June because they both start with J. July 2nd, my grandmother was like, hey, get up, we're gonna go to the store, it's gonna be fine, you're gonna have him soon. Keep in mind, I was not due until July 13th. I just kind of sat up, and the first thing I told her was, I'm having a baby soon. And she was like, yeah. I was like, no, like, he's gonna come out tonight, I guarantee it. And she's like, you've been saying that every night. Like, and I'm like, yes, but I genuinely feel like he is coming out tonight. I don't know what it is. I'm at peace now because I know it's gonna be over soon. Like, and she's like, okay, well, if it happens, it happens, but we're not going to the hospital until it actually does. Because I'm not taking you and getting all excited just for them to tell me that, you know, we're gonna have to go home because it's not real. And I was like, yeah, no, I get it. Dude, that shopping trip was the worst shopping trip I've ever been on. And I was just in so much pain. It took everything I had not to yell at the poor sales clerk that was trying to help me. It took everything I had not to be a Karen and take it out on everybody else. Because when I'm in pain, I'm mean. Like, you would think I'm just like this bubbly social butterfly that you see on camera all the time. Yeah, no, this time, like, I was, like, yelling at everybody that was around me. I made them miserable, and I feel bad still to this day. But everybody else was kind of like, nah, you get a pass. Like, you get a pass. And I'm like, but I don't want to pass. Like, I just want to have my baby. Like, so, anyway, our shopping trip ended early because I told my grandmother, I was like, dude, I am in pain. I don't want to be here. I just want to, you know. But I still kept saying, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm gonna have this baby soon. And she's like, okay, well then we'll go home, but if you still feel like this tonight, then I'll take you to the hospital tonight. Somehow didn't believe her, but whatever. Like, so then my dad gets home that night at 9 o'clock or something. And he's like, so how are you feeling? I went off on this poor man. I was like, nobody's gonna believe me until I give birth in my bed, I swear to God. I stood up and I leaked. Did not pee. Did not have discharge. I leaked. And I was like, hey, Dad. Like, I just kind of stood up and I leaked and I just gasped. I was like, and my dad's like, what happened? And I was like, I think my water just broke. And he said, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, no, Dad, I'm lying, just so I could go to the hospital. I squeezed a water bottle in between my legs. I was like, I squeezed a water bottle in between my legs. Yes, Dad, I'm sure. And he's like, okay, well, shit. Grab your grandma, like. So she's like, okay, Grandma, we have to go to the hospital. And she was like, are you sure? Like, you know, maybe you don't. And I was like, Grandma, I'm sorry that me going into labor is such an inconvenience for you, but yes, I'm going into labor. And she's like, all right then, and I guess we'll go to the hospital. And then I had to text Nathaniel, because that's his dad. And now my boyfriend, but at the time I was like, dude, I really, really don't want to text him. Like, I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, you know, on the daily, it's a battle for me not to text him, but I know I can't anymore, like, you know. So I was just like, hey, my water broke. And he said, are you sure? Am I sure? No, Nathaniel, I lied. So I just texted him, I'm pretty sure. And he said, okay, well, keep me in the loop. I wanted you to call me, but okay. Like, I was in too much pain to care. I was like, okay. We get to the hospital, and I'm expecting them to send me home because they rolled their eyes at me because I was in there, like, every day that week. From June 21st till now, I was in there every damn night. Like, they rolled their eyes when they saw me come in. And the poor receptionist, she's like, name. And then I was in the middle of a really bad contraction, so I'm just like, oh my god. And she's like, oh, okay, honey, okay. OB to receptionist, she's having a baby right now. And the nurse comes out and she's like rolling her eyes because it's me again, and she's like, okay, oh my god, baby, come on. So I'm over here just like, oh my god, I think it's a real deal this time. Like, I'm not crazy. Like, they put me in the room, and she was like, we're gonna see if it's actually amniotic fluid, because if it's not, we're gonna have to send you home again. And I really don't want to send you home because I hate hearing you being so miserable. And they stuck a Q-tip up me, twirled it around a little bit, which is the weirdest feeling you could possibly imagine. And then they checked to see if I was dilated. I was dilated 1 centimeter, and they would have sent me home because my water did not break, because they stuck their fingers up me to see if it was still intact, and it was. I did leak amniotic fluid though, so I don't know if it just had a hole in it. I don't know. But she was like, yeah, it's amniotic fluid, you're 1 centimeter, you have been here every night. So let me go talk to the doctor and see what she can do for you, because I don't want to send you home. And I said, okay. She comes back in 15 minutes later, she's like, good news. And I said, what? She's like, you don't have to go home. Are you serious? And she's like, yeah, congratulations, you got what you wanted. Like, she's like, I told her it was you again. She said, just keep her. Like, so then my doctor comes in, she's like, okay, we're gonna take you from triage to your room. And I was like, okay, can I ask why you let me stay? And she's like, you have been here every night this past week. You have been here every night for a month. You are 1 centimeter, and we hate, and you are so small, and your baby is so big. Because they have a copy of everybody's sonograms. Like, if you go to, okay, so here's the hospital, and then here's my clinic that I go to. They're literally right next door. If you are a patient at MomDoc and then you come in labor, they have a copy of your sonograms they have a copy of your latest sonogram. So she's like, upon looking at your chart and looking at your sonogram, you are really tiny and your baby is really big. You are in so much pain. You are miserable. We're just gonna keep you. And I was like, okay. She's like, we will put you on Pitocin to start your labor and like really induce you. You are already in labor. You have been in labor since the 21st. I'm sorry that we overlooked you, but it's time. So we're gonna go ahead and induce you and make it go quicker. And I said, okay, bet. She's like, our goal is to make him come tomorrow night, or just tomorrow. He will either be here tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. That is our goal, because we want you not miserable anymore. We want you out of our hospital. Like, I think that was her nice way of saying, get the hell out of my hospital. I will help you just to make you leave us alone. So anyway, we get to the room at around midnight, and I'm huge, I'm in pain, and she was like, we're gonna have you get in the hot shower. The hot shower will help slow down your contractions and make them less painful. So let me know when you're out of the shower and hit the call light button, and I'll come in and put some Pitocin through your IV. And I said, okay. And you know you've reached a new level of heartbreak from your recent from your recent heartbreak, when you're singing through the contractions, Halsey's "You Should Be Sad," and freaking Tate's "You Broke Me First," crying through contractions and screaming, "You broke me first." So my grandma's trying to sleep on the couch and I could just hear her, because I'm singing through the contractions to distract myself, and I'm crying through pain and sadness, and I'm just like, could you tell me where'd you get the nerve? Holding onto the wall, and I'm just, I don't really care how bad it hurts, because you broke me first. And then he calls me, "Hey, how you feeling?" Like, he texted me, he didn't call me, he texted me, "Hey, how you feeling?" And I'm just, and my grandma's like, "I know it hurts, I know." And I'm like, "It does." But I wasn't talking about the contractions. I was like reliving what happened after all of that. Still going through a lot of pain, like the most pain I've ever been in, and also the most emotional pain I've ever been in. It was just, ow. I never want to relive that again. So, are you listening? I never want to relive that again. So, I come out of the hospital, and I'm sitting on the bed, and my grandma's like, "Okay, press the call light." No. Why not? Because if I'm in this much pain, how much more can I possibly take? And she was like, "He's coming out whether you're ready or not, so you might as well just press it." Fine. So I press it, she comes in, and she's like, "Okay, we're going to start you on Pitocin. Here's what happens, here's how it works." Basically, it goes through your body, and it helps, I can't remember what she said, but basically it helps your contractions get farther along, and it speeds up your labor, like that. So, and it basically goes by twos. And, like, it goes up to 16, and it goes by twos. The higher the number, the more intense your labor. But either way, it will hurt, no matter what level you're at. The pain just gets worse as they turn it up. So I'm on 2, and already I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel anything. Ow, ow, ow." And she's like, "Yeah, just breathe. Like, it's fine. Like, you're good." Like, I was just like, "I don't feel anything. Ow." "Yeah, just breathe." Like, and then she leaves, and then if you saw my TikTok that says when you're not crying about the pain anymore, but the sadness, that's why. So, finally, June 3rd. I did not sleep at all June 2nd. Like, oh my god, July. I know what month my kid was born in, I swear. July 3rd. I did not sleep at all June 2nd. Oh my god, July. Did not sleep at all July 2nd. Okay, there we go. Spit it out! So, they come in, they turn it up to 4. They give me some fentanyl, which is amazing. Because they gave me like this little paperwork about how I want, basically filling out my birth plan. They asked if I wanted the mirror, which is where when they put your legs up for you to give birth, there's a big mirror in front of it so that you can see your child being born. And 10 out of 10, next time I have kids, the next baby, I want to do it again, because I cannot get the image of him coming out of my head, and it's beautiful. I would definitely do it again. But they also asked if I wanted an epidural, and I said no, because I hate needles, and I've also seen women tell me after they get the epidural that they get back issues early on, and they have a bigger chance of messing up, because if you move the wrong way, it can paralyze you, and I heard a bunch of scary things, didn't want to do it. So I said no to the epidural, and they were like, "Okay, but I'm just warning you, it will get intense and it will hurt. You are not in a lot of pain right now because you're not far enough along, but it will get worse from here. So when you change your mind, just let us know. This is not set in stone. This is just kind of like what you want." And I said, "Okay, cool." So I checked no, and they were like, okay, so here's what we'll do for other pain alternatives if you don't want the epidural just now. We can give you some fentanyl through your IV. It's not enough to get you addicted, it's just enough to take the edge off a little bit. And then there's also the hot shower, there's that pool thing that you see right there, and there's also some gas that we can give you to strap over your face and have you breathe the right way, and it'll basically make your contractions easier with the nitrous. And I said, okay. So that's what we did. We did the other alternatives. And then, nothing else really happened until afternoon. My Aunt Chrissy came to visit. And my contractions are farther along now. And she has to go because she had to pick something up. So she did not get to see me get the epidural. But I finally got it because they tried to get the epidural in at first and then they messed up. Like, it hurt really bad, and then I jerked the wrong way and then the anesthesiologist, she was like, she pulls the needle out, she's like, okay, I can't do it if you're gonna move, like, I can hurt you if you move, so do you want to do it or not? And I was like, I don't want to do it. And she's like, are you sure? Yes. Okay, let me know if you change your mind, I'll come back. She kind of rolled her eyes, but I mean, it's her job, and I get it. So I look really good today. Sorry. Anyway, I don't really get to say that a lot anymore, so. What the fuck? Anyway, now I smell good. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Anyway, so an hour later, my contractions are 2 minutes apart. The Pitocin is on 10. I am screaming at this point. I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm trying to eat a grilled cheese sandwich, and I can't because I can't even close my mouth because it's like, okay, on the monitor you can see when you're gonna get a contraction. Like, it'll start really slow, and then this is when you're in the most pain, when it's up here. And then it starts getting better because it goes down, and then no contraction. It literally is like a wave. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So, when it's 2 minutes apart, it looks like a freaking landscape on the little, what's it called? Monitor? I'm just gonna say monitor. So, I am screaming. And I'm still refusing the epidural because I'm stubborn, okay? I don't want a solution, I just want to complain. Just let me complain. Don't tell me if I get the epidural it's going to be easier, because I know that. I just want to say how I'm feeling. Like, I just want to complain. I don't want a solution right now. I just want to tell you, hey, I'm in pain. Here's why. So I'm like, can I have some more fentanyl, please? And she's like, no, unfortunately, I just gave you the last dose you can have. So here's what I'm going to do. My midwife was awesome. Shout out to Dr. Angela. She's amazing. So she had me have my legs shoulder width apart and have my butt towards like the edge of the bed. Have my back kind of arched, which is easy for me because I have bad posture already. And then relax my shoulders and my chin to my chest and just hold on to my knees. Well, actually, I kind of held onto her shoulders, but, And to just she told me to sit there for 3 contractions, not screaming, not going like this, because whenever I would have a contraction, I would cross my legs, grab the side rails, and just... And they told me not to do that. They're like, relax your face, uncross your legs, just relax. And I'm like, dude, this is easier said than done, like, And she's like, I know, like, we're gonna give you the epidural because, well, let me just, obviously they consented. They weren't like, well, I'm gonna give it to you. It was just a, hey, I really, really encourage you to. because of the fact that you are in distress, you are putting your son in distress, and it's just the baby's in distress because of how much pain you are in. You refusing this epidural is putting your baby in distress, which is gonna just cause a risk. So, are you sure you don't want it? And upon hearing that, I was like, no, I'm not sure I don't want it. So she had me sit there like that for 3 contractions and just breathing normally, pretending like it wasn't happening. And then they called the anesthesiologist, and she's like, okay, you just sat through those 3 painful contractions with me. You can handle a slight pinch in your back, okay? And I said, okay. So she comes in. My grandmother is rubbing my knee so that I can, like, see her. And I know that she's there. And I'm just, okay. I'm breathing, and I'm like, okay, wait, hang on, contraction, and she doesn't do anything, and she waits for me to go before she boop, because I'm already relaxing, like I'm exhaling, and they're 2 minutes apart. I'm gonna have the contraction. I'm constantly having a contraction at this point. There's never a break anymore, like, so she waited for me to take a deep breath in so that she could poke me, and I can't react at this point, so I'm just and then they stick the catheter in, which was a really weird feeling. Like, she injected the numbing agent, so all I felt was pressure. It was like somebody poking me really hard when she stuck the catheter in. And then my midwife, Dr. Angelina, she looked at me, she's like, okay, you're having another contraction. This is the last one you're gonna have that is gonna be this painful, I promise. Look into my eyes, breathe. And she was right. Like, she was doing something up here, which I now realize she was sticking the medicine through the catheter, but I was just like, what is she doing? She's like, don't focus on what she's doing, look at me, like, I'm right here, look at me, focus on me. And then she's like, okay, there's another contraction, do you feel it? Feel what? Okay, good, it worked. I can't feel my legs. Yep, that's normal. And then Nathaniel called me, he's like, okay, so you yelled at me in our last phone call, how are you feeling? And the reason why is because he called me, he's like, hey, how are you feeling? And I was like, shut the fuck up. And he's like, okay, well, you're mean, so I'm gonna go. And I was like, I'm gonna get the epidural, I'll call you back. And he's like, but you hate needles, you can't do it. Well, now, just to show you that I can, I'm going to. And then he calls me after, he's like, so how you feeling? I'm like, dude, I feel so good. He's like, you're welcome. I know your motivation is spite, so you're welcome. He literally did that on purpose just so that I can get it to shut him up. And he was like, congratulations. So, without even me realizing it, he's the only person that can be like, he knows how to calm me down, no matter what it is, whether that's being an asshole just so I'm like, let me show you why I can, and then he'll sit there with a big smile on his face like, see, I told you. So, anyway, dude, my hair is going to bug me. Oh my god, I don't know why he won't let me cut it. Okay, anyway. So, anyways, after I got the epidural, I felt really good. Like, I was basically didn't feel anything from my boobs down. Like, I felt good. And I could not feel my legs at all, and because of that, they would not let me get up to go to the bathroom. So if I had to pee, I would press my call light, and they'd come in and stick a catheter up me and drain my bladder that way. So, and if I told them that I had to go poop, they told me that I did not. Turns out that was just Riley's head on my rectum. So, yeah. I actually did not have to poop. That was just him pushing down. So, they were like, if you have to pee, you actually do have to pee. So anyway, when I had the epidural, they were like, okay, so you're 7 centimeters, your water still has not broken, so we're gonna break it. You won't feel a thing. So I said, okay. They were right, didn't feel a thing. So you could literally touch my leg and I would not feel it. Like, it was the best. At first I didn't like it because I didn't like the fact that I knew my legs were there, but I couldn't feel them. It was like being paralyzed. Like, I didn't like it at first. But they told me that I was gonna be fine and it'll wear off when he is born and they take out my stitches. As soon as they take out my stitches, they're gonna take the block off of me, which would make feeling come back. So they left the block on so that I would not feel him coming out at all. So Banner Ironwood, I would definitely go back to have another baby when I have another baby. But right now, this factory is officially closed for at least 7 years. Okay, Riley will be 7 years old before he gets a brother or sister. Like, right now, this is closed. Like, nah. So, So I'm 10 centimeters finally, and they were like, okay, we're gonna wait a little bit longer until you feel pressure down there. If you feel like you cannot hold in the poop anymore, it means he's coming out. So let us know if you feel like that. I said, okay. Now, obviously, if I did not have the epidural, it would not feel like that. It would be a lot worse. But because I had the epidural at 5 centimeters, I was feeling amazing. I was actually tired enough to go to sleep. So I went to sleep, and it was honestly the best sleep I have had since June 21st. Before this whole mess started, like, that was the best sleep I've ever had, and when I got to that point. So I slept for like 30 minutes, and then I was like, dude, I have to poop. And then I was like, oh, no, I don't. So I pressed the call light, and I was like, hey, I feel like I have to push. And she checked me. That she was like, oh, he's under the bone. So yeah, text whoever it is that you need to text and say that you're having a baby right now. All right, bet. Texted Nathaniel. I was like, hey, I'm about to push. Immediately he calls me. And I'm like, okay, honestly, this is the only voice that I need to hear right now. Like, this is the most calming voice that I need to hear at this point in time. So, God dang it. I don't know what's going on with that. But he is in my ear telling me that it's going to be okay, trying to comfort me because I'm sobbing. Okay. Turns out that the dog just scared her. Okay, so he's in my ear trying to comfort me, and I wasn't in pain. I was just emotional because I just needed to hear from him all day, and he was telling me exactly what I needed to hear this entire process. I am so proud of you. You are so strong. I'm here for you. And he let I love you slip out. And he didn't think I heard it, but I did. And it made me so happy. So, because I've been wanting to hear that for so long. We ain't finna cry. This is like $50 mascara here. So, yeah. So, anyway. I was pushing for maybe about 5 minutes, and he just slid right out. Riley was like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm out. Peace. He was a whopping 8 pounds, 1 ounce, and he was 21 inches long and a 14-inch head, and he was born at 8:25 p.m. As soon as I heard him cry, that was the most beautiful sound that I've ever heard in my entire life. And when he didn't cry, I was really scared. Like, he didn't cry at first. Like, they pulled him out and they put him on my chest, and he had his eyes closed. He didn't even open his eyes. He wasn't making any noise. So I thought he was born sleeping, or stillborn, you know. And I started screaming, why isn't he crying? Why isn't my baby crying? And they're like, it's okay, like, it's okay, like, most babies don't cry. Like, we'll suction him, we'll make him mad, he's gonna cry, I promise. And I was like, okay. So they got the little nose sucker. That's what I grew up calling it. I don't know what it's actually called, but, you know. So they got that, they suctioned him, and he started screaming. And oh my god. As soon as I heard him cry, that was... And what was so beautiful about it is, like, after I lost my first baby, I had doctors tell me that I wouldn't be able to have kids. And I did it. So, and even though he wasn't there, like, physically, we still kind of were in it together because we both heard him cry at the same time, and we both were on the phone crying. Like, he was crying, I was crying, and he told me that I did a good job and he was proud of me. And that he was beautiful. And we spent the rest of the entire night talking, and we got back together on July 5th. And we've been back together ever since. And we are trying to make it work long distance until he can come home. And then we'll make it work in person and not let history repeat itself while enjoying this beautiful life that we both created together. And he is awake right now, so let me get him. He's not all the way awake yet, but I just wanted to hold him. So this is, for those of you that didn't watch my last video, this is Riley. Nycole.Perrine. So anyway, yeah, that's the story. And I will still do, like, monthly updates on him that I kind of like I did when I was pregnant, where I'd go, and I'm still pregnant, and tell you what my symptoms were. I know I only did that for a short amount of time, but then a lot happened and I just wasn't thinking about doing that anymore. So, sorry about that. He is a month old now. He's 5 weeks old, and at this point he can hold his head up at a 45-degree angle for about maybe like he'll hold his head up, see, and he can hold it up for longer periods of time now. He's up more during the day, and he sleeps a little bit longer at night. He makes noises, and he's getting a little bit chunkier. He now weighs 10 pounds. And he goes in for his 2-month appointment on September 7th at 8:45 a.m. Yeah, that means we gotta get up at 6. Yeah, he's my little man. Alright, so my dad and I are getting ready to go run some errands. That's why I was getting ready. But anyway, I love y'all. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay body positive. Kate Winchester out. I'll still live bye-bye. And God bless your nutty little hearts. And don't forget to go nuts. You want to say goodbye? You want to say bye-bye? You want to say bye-bye? Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh. Yeah, good job.